In this video, you are going to learn how to build a Notion template from a blank page to a finished product. We are going to build an employee leave tracker, which every business needs. But if you don't run a team or a company, don't click away just yet. Because in this video, we are going to take a look at fundamental Notion features, problem-solving skills, and formulas that you can use in every Notion build you do. Now, before we start building, let's take a look at what we're actually going to create. This is the vacation or employee leave tracker, and this makes it super simple and straightforward to actually plan, track, and see how many days off a team member or yourself have had throughout the year. So to explain the template, let's jump over to the table view. We have a title, the person who is going on vacation. We have the start and end date of the vacation. We have a status property to actually approve the vacation or decline the vacation. And we have a number property to actually enter in the legal holidays, which is resulting in a day off anyway. So the trick here is that we actually can't just count the days from start to end date. We need to use a formula to actually exclude weekends and also subtract the legal holidays. Now let's create a new page to start from scratch. I'll just call this dashboard because I will always include the databases I create inside of some kind of dashboard. If you have a dashboard or somewhere that you actually collect your databases, create it inside there. Now hit / and search for database, and we will choose the full page database for this example. Now let's create a new vacation planner. Let's change the name property to title. We need to assign a person who is going on vacation. And we also want to add the date property where we can choose the end and start date. And we also want to add a status. And now let's jump into the status property straight away and change some of these. We'll add a decline selection and make it red so it's visible. And we can state in progress. That's probably going to be ready for review. And the complete we can change to approved. Now the status options actually make more sense. That's good. And now let's jump back in and add some more properties. The next property we actually need is the number property. And we will change the name here to legal holidays. Let's change the icon here because it's not that much fun. Use the Christmas tree, for example, just to add some visuals. And now we have all the properties we need except the formulas. But before we create the formulas, let's add some data so we have something to work on. Let's add the Christmas example, and we can add myself, and we will go in and choose 22nd of December and until New Year's Eve. There we go. And inside of this period, we have 4 legal holidays that we need to account for. Now we have some data to work with, and we need to format that data and exclude the holidays and also the weekends. To do that, we use formulas. And formulas can be kind of intimidating, but I'm going to show you a problem-solving skill, which is to use AI for this purpose. A lot of the formulas that I create myself, I don't know how to create. But if we chat with our AI assistant, we can create incredible things without having the proper knowledge. So let's take a look at how we can do that. So let's jump into ChatGPT, and we will simply explain what we need the formula to do. So we are inside of Notion. I have a date property. And be sure to use the actual names of the properties. So if you name it something else in your language, just change it to that because ChatGPT is going to use the names that you input. So inside of Notion, I have a date property. I want to count the days from start to end date within the same property. Create a formula. So that's the output we want, which counts the dates, but excludes, and here's the trick, excludes the weekends. There we go. Now we can see that the formula is quite long and it would take us some time to actually write it. So just explain it to ChatGPT. We have actually saved ourselves some time. Now let's jump into Notion, hit edit property, edit formula, and paste in the code. Now we can see that the formula is actually calculating that it's 9 days between December 22nd to January 1st. And that's correct because we saw it in the earlier example. Let's change the name of the formula here. So this is the day counter. And we can change the icon to some numbers or whatever you like. But now we also need to exclude the legal holidays. And we could do that inside of the day counter to save ourselves one property, but let's create a new formula just to show you an easy example of how you can leverage formulas in everyday use. So let's create a new property, and this is business days off. This is actually the number that we are interested in as an employer. So let's choose an icon here. I'll just use the airplane because that's some fun. But instead of writing all of this complex code, let's take the day counter minus the legal holidays. And now that's outputting 5, which is correct. So let's take this day counter, which is the advanced formula, and just hide it. Now, this vacation planner is kind of boring. Let's make it a lot more fun to actually add your vacations. So let's start by adding a cover. Let's search for plane. And we can take this wing. That's a pretty picture. There we go. Now I'm already thinking of going on vacation. And let's add an icon. Again, I like the plane icons. Those are quite fun. Already a lot more aesthetic, but we can do some more work here. Let's add a new database view. And personally, I like to use the gallery view. And I'm going to show you why in just a second. Let's call this just cards, because that's what the database entries now look like. And go into the layout view again and choose the card preview to be a page cover. Just as we did on the database, we can add covers to the pages as well. So let's jump into Christmas here and add a cover. And search for Christmas. There we go. We can choose this image. That's quite pretty. Now, this is starting to look beautiful, but it's not actually useful now because we don't have any information. So to add some information, go up in settings here and choose the property visibility and add, let's say, the person, because we are interested in knowing who is going on vacation. We can add the status to see if it's actually approved. And we can show the business days off and the dates. There we go. Now it's both pretty and useful. Now, if I create a new page now, and just call it test for now, there's no image here. When people add vacations or just data inside of a system, they're not actually going to take the time to add images all the time. Not everyone's like me. So let's delete this page, but we can fix it. Instead of clicking new here, click the arrow and create a new template. Now we will leave the title empty because that's not what we actually want to automatically pull in on the database. We want to add a cover. Now instead of space, we will add something more basic, something we all think of when we think of holiday. Maybe some water, maybe a sky. The sky is pretty. And we can just pull it up here. Maybe, yeah, we can include the people. They're having a good time. Now that's good. We have added the image. Let's jump outside. Just click outside of the pop-up. And go up to the arrow again and choose the new page template. And click set as default. Now this pop-up will show up, and just choose for all views for now, because then if you create a new page anywhere, it will add the image. So with that done, let's create a new test page. And now you can see that the image is automatically pulled in. So if this is summer vacation, and the image is added. And also if you go over here, you can see that the summer vacation is visible. Now it's starting to look a bit more aesthetic, and we can also add some more useful views to the database. So let's add a new calendar view. Let's just call it calendar. There we go. Now go up here and click settings and click property visibility. And for the same here, we can choose the person, the status, the business days off, and the dates. Now if you scroll down to December, you can see that it's Christmas, it's me, it's status not started, and 5 business days off between 22nd of December to the 1st of January. Now that you added the calendar view to your Notion database, you'll get this button Manage in Calendar. This will take you to Notion Calendar, where you actually can see the vacations inside of the calendar app that Notion has created. I will not go into detail on this in this video, but be sure to be subscribed for an upcoming Notion Calendar video. That was a lot of calendar, but I will just leave it at that. Now let's create a new database views. And another useful one on the vacation planner is actually timeline views. And the reason for that is because you can actually have overlapping vacations in a team. So I'll just call this timeline. And now if you scroll over to December here, you can see that we have a new vacation. And again, we will add the properties. So who is taking a vacation? Is it approved? How many business days is it? And the date. Now, if we create a new vacation here and we change the date to almost the same, but we start at the 13th, you can see that we have an overlapping vacation. And that's really useful if you're a project manager. You can actually see who's away from work at the same time. Now, to you at Notion, it would be really great if we could actually pull in other databases inside of this view. So I have a database for my projects, and it would be really, really useful to actually pull in and see the projects inside of this view. So I could see that, okay, I have 2 people away when an important project is due and I need to get some more people on to that project. With that out of the way, let's jump over to the table view again. The table view can be improved upon to just make it more like useful and user-friendly. And what I usually do is use the grouped function in the database. So let's jump over to settings, go to group. And now there's 2 useful cases here. One is to group it by person. So if you have multiple people with multiple vacations, you can see that I only have 1 vacation and we have 2 vacations that's not assigned to anyone. So that makes it easy to actually get an overview of the team's vacations. And if you jump into settings, we can also use the group function. If you change it to date, and instead of date by relative, we can go by month. So that's also useful. You can see that in December, 2 vacations are planned, and we have 1 vacation that hasn't any dates yet. So let's just add some for the sake of it. And you can see that now we have 1 vacation in July. So that's 2 simple views that you can use in the table view, and that also works for cards. So let's go group by person. And now you also can get this view of all the people's vacations in an aesthetic way. Now that's a vacation planner or employee leave tracker for you. If you don't want to build this yourself, you can get the template down in the link in the description. And if you haven't already, check out this video because YouTube thinks you will like it.